So we're in this amazing series, God of Miracles. Today is the last Sunday, the last part of our God of Miracles series. And I'm gonna jump in, and I hope that you guys are ready to get a little rowdy. I need you guys to help me preach this message. I'm not gonna preach this message alone. Don't make me stand up here and be the only one talking. If you guys hear something you like, I need an amen. I need a holler at your boy. I need some kind of feedback. Can you guys give me some feedback and let me know you're alive? It's the holiday weekend. It's gonna be a good week. Today's gonna be a good day, I believe. And I believe that God is going to change somebody's life today. I truly, truly believe that. I believe that God has power that he wants to open up in this room. I believe everyone that's hearing my voice online in the cafe, God, the God of miracles, today is going to unleash some of that miracle power if we just jump in and receive it. So we are on part 6. Today's message, I have 2 different titles. First title is Positioning Yourself for Miracles. Another title that you guys, if you prefer, is How to Unlock Miracles in Your Life. How to unlock miracles in your life. We're going to get real practical today. But one of the main thoughts that I have for you is that miracles are available to everyone who positions themselves. Miracles, the power of God is not an exclusive thing. It's not something that is reserved for the holy. It's not something that's reserved for the perfect. It is available to everyone. The only thing that we have to do is we have to position our lives under the miracle power. And I want to talk to you guys about how we position our lives, how we unlock that power of God. But first, I have a story for you guys. 2.5 years ago, about my beautiful wife, April, sitting right up here, the most beautiful woman in the world. She gave me the most beautiful child in the world. This is Chloe Bree. She was born 5 weeks early. She had underdeveloped lungs, and she had to stay in the hospital for a little under 2 weeks. But that's a story for another time. We'll share that at some other point. But I want to share with you a miracle, amazing miracle that God did in the midst of all this. April had to have a C-section. So for the first couple of days that Chloe was in the hospital, April was also in the hospital as a patient. After a few days, they released her, so she was no longer a patient, but we were staying there as guests. For our birth, we had a midwife because we're hippies. Her name was Lynn. She's an amazing midwife, but because she's a midwife and because she's a hippie, she was not going to prescribe April with anything more than what she needed. So she had a very powerful pain medication, and she had to take it about every 6 hours, or she would start to feel like she'd been cut open. And I noticed that a couple days after she was released from the hospital, but we were still staying there, that she was getting a little low on her pain meds. So she had to take it about every 6 hours, and I noticed that there were probably only 2 more doses that she had. So I went to the hallway, I found a nurse, and I said, "Hey, where's Lynn? I need to find her, I need to talk to her." And she, at that point, was in with another woman who is in labor. But she assured me, I explained to her what was going on. She assured me that as soon as she could, she would get Lynn and she would bring Lynn to me. So hours passed and we got down to 1 dose, and I got a little nervous. And so I went back out to find that nurse. Turns out that nurse had gone home for the day. So I went and found another nurse, explained to her what was going on. And she went and looked for Lynn. She came back and she said Lynn had gone home for the day. So she must have forgot or whatever, that's fine. Luckily, I had her phone number, so I gave her a call, and I let her know what was going on. Lynn said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry." She did let me know. She came right back to the hospital, and she signed a refill. So I was relieved. As soon as she signed the refill, I got on my phone, found a CVS, the closest one nearby, and I gave them a call. And I said, "Hey, before I drive over there, do you guys have this medication in stock?" And they said, well, we cannot let you know over the phone that we have it because it was a narcotic, very, very powerful pain medication. So you're just going to have to drive here, and we'll let you know once you get here. So I said, okay, that's fine. I got in the car. Well, I loaded April in the car. I got in the car. We drove to the CVS, and they didn't have it. So that's fine. We went to another place, and they didn't have it. We went to a third place, and they didn't have it. And at this point, I had to get April back to the hospital because she had to feed Chloe. And, you know, I want to be a strong, brave husband, so I got her back to the hospital. I said, don't worry, boo, I got you. But inside, I was a little nervous because we had already been looking for like 2 hours. So I got back in the car, went to 2 more places that didn't have this medication. That was 5 places that I'd gone to, and no one had this stuff. And I'm like, what the heck is going on in this town? I got back to the hospital. I called Lynn. I said, Lynn, I'm freaking out a little bit. Like, nobody has this medication. Nobody has what my wife needs. What do I do? And she said, okay, well, why don't you go to Mountain View, go to the CVS there. I send people there all the time, and they'll help you out. At this point, when I called Lynn, it was 11:30 at night. I actually woke her up. We were at a hospital in Los Gatos, 11:30 at night, and she was going to send me to Mountain View. So I got off the phone with her. I opened up Yelp. I said, I need to know where this place is. I need to know what time they close. So this place closed at midnight in Mountain View, and we're in Los Gatos. So I run to my car. I jump in. I drive. I try my hardest to follow the speed limit, and I try my hardest to fight back tears, because inside, just as a husband, I need to get what my wife needs. And I'm starting to freak out, and I'm starting to get nervous. What if they don't have it? And so I just start declaring into my windshield, this is going to be the place. They are going to have what my wife needs. This is going to be the place. I'm going to get what my wife needs. And I get there at 11:55, and I run inside. Thank God I got there on time. I run inside, and of course there's a line. So patiently, I wait in line, and I get up to the front finally, and I hand the tech the prescription, and I say, please, do you guys have this medication? And he informs me that it'll take about 10 minutes for him to look me up and make sure I'm not a drug dealer and let me know if they have what I need. So he goes in the back, and I'm in the waiting area, and I'm just pacing. And I'm declaring with faith and also wondering, what do I do if this isn't the place? And I start looking up 24-hour pharmacies, and I start sweating and crying maybe and probably, and the tech comes out, and he looks at me and he says, Mr. Candace Tracy, we have your wife's medication. And I just filled up with such peace. Thank you, God. I go for my wallet. I had my wallet. I go for my wallet to pull out money to pay the tech. And when I have my wallet in my hand, he said, I'll just need to see your wife's ID. And my heart sank. I didn't even think about April's ID. We actually pre-registered at the hospital, so we didn't even have any of her stuff. We pre-registered weeks ago. So I open up my wallet, and I think, I'm just gonna in a desperate move, I'm gonna pull out my ID, I'm gonna ugly cry in front of this guy, and I'm just gonna beg him to help me. So I pull out my license, and sitting behind my license is April's license. And I think, I married the most brilliant woman in the world. How did she know to put her driver's license in my wallet? So I throw money at the guy, I grab the bag, and I run to my car. I get back to the hospital at probably 1 o'clock in the morning, and I run into the room. I give April her medication. I said, April, how did you know to put your license in my wallet? And she says, I didn't put my license in your wallet. I didn't even bring any of my stuff with me. And so we tried for the next few minutes to think logically about how her license ended up in my wallet. But you know what I think? You know what I think happens? I think that when I was in that car declaring that this was going to be the place and that I was going to get what my wife needed, I think God sent an angel to put her license in my wallet. And I want to say, aside from my notes, that sometimes we can pray for a miracle and then it happens and we don't acknowledge God in that miracle. We can actually pray and then it happens and we go, oh, thank God I don't have to pray anymore because it happened. And God's sitting there thinking, I just did what you asked me to do. I just provided for you. And I want to say, again, this isn't even my notes, but I want to say that when God comes through for you, you better give him praise for the things that he does. It's easy enough for us to logic our way out, but we got to give him praise for the things that he does in our lives. So April and I, we prayed together and we thanked God, because God is not just the God of these crazy, like, limb growing back and blind eyes opening. He's the God of miracles. What we need is what he has, and he had that license. He had that license. He put it in my wallet, and I am so thankful that God is a God of miracles. I want you guys to know that when you are faced with impossible, hopeless situations, when you're faced with something really, really hard, when you need a miracle, I want you guys to know that your faith determines the outcome. Your faith determines the outcome. I wonder what would have happened if I gave in to that hopeless feeling. I wonder what would have happened if I didn't declare as I was driving that this was going to be the place, that this was going to be the time. I want you guys to know that if you are in a hopeless situation, that if you are in a desperate need and you choose to give into that hopeless feeling, if you surrender to hopelessness, there's your answer right there. If you need a miracle, your faith determines the outcome. If you're at home watching in a small group, I want you guys to open up your guides to lesson 6. Maybe share some miracles that you know God has done and have an amazing discussion.